live with Dave and Neal from Our Haunted Lives.
Right.
Hi guys, how you doing
What's up, guys?
tonight?
Hey,
Doing great,
good,
man. How are
good.
you?
So, what I usually do is I'll ask you a question and you guys can answer, and you know, and then you can
Sure.
decide who wants to go first, or because it's kind of hard when you start talking over each other.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time we've had two individuals instead of one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna open up with my first question, which is a common question that I use for everyone because people don't know who you are or they haven't seen you before or
hmm
anything like that. So,
hmm
what got you interested and started in the field of paranormal?
You want me to take
Hmm.
this first?
Neil, go ahead with this one. Yeah, go ahead with this one, Neil.
All right. Man, it all started actually when I was in third grade. I had my first paranormal experience then, where my routine at the time was we lived on a farm, and my mom and dad were always on the farm. When I got home from school, my routine was to drop my books off and go to the farm, which is right behind our house.
Okay.
And I did this, man, and as soon as my feet hit the steps to go to the farm, I heard a woman in the house saying, "Please don't leave," and nobody was in the house. So
Hmm.
I told my parents about this, and they kind of like, "Yeah, whatever, you're just making this up, whatnot." And then a couple of years later, I had a similar thing to happen where I was actually taking a bath, and our bathroom was actually at the time made onto a screened-in porch that we had.
Okay.
And I was in the bathtub, man, and I looked over at the sink in the bathroom, and I seen the cold water faucet turn itself on and water coming out. And I stand up in the bathtub, and I'm screaming bloody murder, man. And my parents come running in there, and I told them what happened. They said, "Oh, you left the water running before you got in the bathtub." No, I did not. And so that's kind of sparked it for me, man. I wanted to really prove not only to myself that I wasn't crazy, but to everybody else too. And it's just kind of spitball from there, man. I've been kind of going ever since.
Cool.
David?
Yeah, with me, it was similar. I used to be able to see auras when I was a little kid, say until I was about 8 years old. So I used to call it seeing somebody's rainbow. I didn't really know anything about it. Um, And so then later on in life, I lived in Phoenix and with a lot of the learning a lot about Native American culture and how they embrace some spirits and things like that. And I kind of learned a little bit more. I don't see the auras anymore, but I kind of dabbled a little bit in Phoenix. Didn't really get involved with any paranormal teams or anything like that. And then up in the Seattle and Oregon area, I lived in Seattle for about a year and then Portland for about a year. I started getting more involved with it. Um, and then it led to Neals. So very similar experiences on both sides of something that happened earlier in our lives that has led us to this point. So
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So, this question to Dave here then. So I'm gonna run off of what you were saying there about the auras and everything. So you never really looked into following through with learning like the tarots or any of that kind of thing to because
no.
the way you're explaining it, you seem like you could possibly be a sensitive someone who could actually be a medium.
Well, it's funny you say that because during one of our investigations, and this is the one when we went outside of Charlotte, it's the first time we met one of our members, Christy, to do an investigation with her. A couple of locals gave us some information on a haunted house that was there, and we went to the house, and it was very weird. Neil, you can back me up on this. Is we were getting towards the end of the investigation, and I kept saying he's coming home, he's coming home, he's coming home, he's coming home soon, and I was seeing in my mind's eye a figure that was coming from the barn. Lo and behold, the guy that owns the land where the house is on, about 10 or 15 minutes later, pulled up and kind of confronted us, saying, "Hey, get out of the house." And we are like that. So it's funny. It's funny that you asked that question, and it's weird because I never really have have followed up on it. And it's an interesting question. Maybe I could, but when I was younger, I was just so into sports and you know, I was a wrestler in high school and college. So I think it just kind of, you know, when you get done playing with your GI Joes, you just kind of leave them and let them there. Like when it stopped for me, I didn't really pursue it anymore. So
Right.
great question
Well,
though. That's a really good
no,
question.
yeah.
Thank you.
But you know, it doesn't matter how old you are or young you are. You're
True.
never too old
True.
to actually start, because once you're endowed with it, you're endowed with it. You just
Yeah,
got
that's
to learn
true.
how to get in touch with it and utilize it.
Yeah, maybe I can do that. Read up a little bit on it, and that's a really really good thing. Thanks for the confidence builder on that.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
real,
man.
man.
I'm a non-practicing Wiccan. I was a
Okay.
Wiccan for quite a time, and I started when I was 16, and so I know how it is once you are endowed with something and you understand it and can then learn about it, you can actually utilize it. So,
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
so with you, Neil,
Okay.
is there any kind of weird stuff like that, or do you have
Yeah,
any?
well, actually, man, when I was 18 or 19, I can't remember exactly. Excuse me. This is back in the 80s, back when I actually had hair. And
Yeah, kind of looks like me.
yeah, and I was in a heavy metal band at the time, man, and due to that, and one of the members that was in the band with us, pretty much every one of the members got started in the satanic occult together,
Oh,
and we stayed in that, man, for a couple of years. So our drummer died while in it, and that kind of shook us up a little bit. So we kind of strayed away from that, man, and then a few years later, I ended up becoming a preacher at a Baptist church, and um, no longer preaching. And so I
That's
have,
a strange path.
I know, right? So I have
From
the,
one extreme to the next.
it's an
yeah,
interesting path.
and I tell people all the time, man, I know both sides now, so I'm a dangerous weapon, you know?
Yeah, I guess that would help
Yeah.
having an understanding of both sides doing what
Yes, sir.
we do
Yes,
out there
sir.
in the investigating the
Yeah.
It helps
unexplained.
out.
Yeah.
It helps out a lot, man, because I've been able to help spirits cross over using my religious past. So that's been a good help to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So, but I mean, going from one extreme to the other, though, that's a complete 180 degree. And then now
Yeah.
and now,
Yeah. It is.
Hello, Tom.
Hey Tom.
Yeah.
Ever
What's going
try
on,
the
Tom?
middle of the road?
Hi Tom
Dude,
and Molly.
He might get
I
hit
tried. I
if
tried the
he
middle,
stands in
brother,
the
but
middle
I
of the
keep
road.
getting pulled to one side or the other.
What is
What's up, Molly?
what it what does Mr. Miyagi say? Either left side or right side. In the middle, squish like grape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also says something like "wax on and wax off," doesn't he?
That's right. That's right. Very
Yep.
very true. Very true.
So, I guess what was one of the most intriguing ones that you guys have investigations that you guys have been on?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Um, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there was the occult house in Virginia, which I thought was really really good. We have a murder suicide house that we've gone to quite a bit, and there's also our last one at the Carver Cemetery, which was a really really good a good one. But I'd say I'd say like evidence wise, maybe last one that we had, we caught a blood curdling scream. Um, you know, we Neal getting touched.
Oh
Jen
yeah.
Sidman, who's also on our team. Her and Neal were experiencing things like a couple times they got whispers in their ears. But I think the interaction with I'm not going to say the name because
That's right.
it's a demon that is associated with Ouija boards, and it starts with a Z. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Um, we
Okay.
were we were, we were kind of interacting with that in Virginia, and it was quite scary with just the lights going on and off. Neal's cameras going on and off. It was very 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 scary for me. And then Neal, why don't you touch on the suicide house?
Okay. The murder suicide house he was talking about is in Sampson County, North Carolina. And man, the husband there and dad, he shot with a 12 gauge, shot his 5-year-old daughter, his 12-year-old sister-in-law, shot his wife, and then blew his own brains out.
Damn.
And the way we got all this information, man, was by using different pieces of equipment as we're talking to the spirits. And the way they've come through is just mind-blowing. And this house also has the ability, the spirits have the ability to move things, and to do different things, to touch you and to harm you. There was one incident where I was pushed against the wall by the dad of the spirit dad. And with this part of his arm, he had my chest, he had it on my chest pinned against the wall. And dude, I couldn't move. I tried. I couldn't even lift my chest off the wall. If it weren't for David being there, man, I don't know what would have happened. He grabbed my hand and pulled me off the wall. So that's a very scary place.
It's a scary place. I got really emotional there also. The father's name is Ed. With our dowsing board that we use with the pendulum, he came through and said that he's wanted to punch me. He's threatened me. I've seen what he looks like, and he's in a closet. We call it the closet room because there's 2 closets there, and it's a huge spirit. Very, I think probably. Well, I don't know if it's a spirit or not. The energy it has is just really bad. About 8 or 9 feet. So when it was looking at me out of the closet, it seemed like it was kind of looking down and reaching out like that. It's affected. We've had a couple girls go to help us investigate. One was a medium, Kelly Hodges. She was in there. She was upset within 30 seconds. Janie Carmack, who's gone with us to investigate there, she has gone out of the house crying. The last time we were there, I was very emotional. I was crying. I wanted to punch Neal in the back of the head. We had that on video. You can see me just tense up. Yeah, you can see me tense up. And throughout the night, everybody was getting angry. Jared was getting angry. Buddy was getting angry. I was getting angry. So, yeah, it's a very, very scary house. Scary haunted house.
So was this that was the suicide house, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the entity you're talking about, that was supposedly the dad?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Whenever we went there, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, that almost sounds to me like it could have been a demon.
Very possible.
That's what we're thinking. Because we did go. The last time we were there, with Kelly, I cleansed that room myself with sage, and afterwards, they all left, and Neal and I were there for about a half an hour or more, and it felt like everything was freed. And then the last time we went back, I didn't feel anything. So, what do you feel?
Yeah, when we were there this last time, man, I like David. There was very little that was there, but it was just a little bit. Nothing at all like what it has been, man. It's like the difference between eating a hot dog and eating a steak. You still got the food, but it's just not the same.
Yeah,
it was totally different.
Well, usually it takes more than just one time through to cleanse a house with.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of worried about, because I don't know if it's just ramping up again or what it's doing.
The first time you went, you were with 2 other people?
Yes.
No, the first time
we went, David and I were by ourselves. I'm sorry, David.
So the first time it was just you 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, and let me explain that. The first time we went in the daytime, do an initial walkthrough.
Okay.
And we recorded our EVPs. And when we listened to our EVPs back, we heard 2 distinct shotgun shots that were not audibly heard while we were there.
Okay.
But on the EVP, we could pick them up. without a doubt, it was shotgun shots. And it's wild that happened because the next night or the next time we went, we found out that he actually killed his family with a shotgun.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was weird.
So the experiences you had were when you went back with the other investigators that were with you,
Right, with the ladies, yes.
and that's
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
really
They.
started having all this activity of
Yeah,
the bad energies or the dark energies messing with you.
right.
Yeah. It
I've been
was.
there
It
a couple
was.
of
Yeah.
times. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Neil.
No.
I was there a couple of times by myself for actually two different times. And what's so weird is, of course, if you ever go to a place with people and you go back by yourself, it's an entirely different feeling.
Yes, it is.
But what I was expecting and what I got was totally different. I was expecting because everything had been so ramped up before that it
Hmm.
was going to be that way when I got back there by myself. But it was not. I mean, I got a little bit of action by myself, but nothing like what we had the ladies there. I think the Ed is totally he hates women altogether. You know,
That's what I
Yeah.
was. That's kind of how I was leading this, because
yeah.
having the women with you, and the fact that you got a little frightened about it. That entity was feeding off of the fears. That entity was feeding off of you guys.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. 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 I
That's
believe
one of
that.
the things.
I.
That's one of the things I've actually come across out doing some of my when I was younger and before I met up with Joe,
Okay.
doing stuff like that. That's some of the stuff I actually came across, to
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the entities that, regardless if they were spirits or demons or anything like that, they loved feeding off of the energies of people, and they did
Oh
everything
yeah.
they could to make you fear, because that was
Oh
the
yeah.
strongest energy that they could gain from you, is the fear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
If they can
Yeah.
grab
For
a hold of
sure.
that fear on you, man, they got you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um so that now, going back to the demon you were talking about,
Okay.
that's another thing too. You can't fear those, because when you do, you're actually giving those the energies to them, and you're allowing them to take over the situation. You always want to make sure that you're in control. And
Yeah.
at the moment that you
Yeah.
start to be feeling like you're not in control, leave the house, leave the room.
Yeah.
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 I told
Yeah.
David
That's
once
that's a
before, man. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
that's a really really great point, Mark. Um, when we do investigate, we tend to kind of do it in bursts. We'll do it for half an hour and then we'll back off and evaluate things and then go back. And that's how it was in the murder suicide house too. It was just when we got real emotional or in that situation where I was getting emotional, it was outside just for a break and let everything calm down and things like that. Especially with Ed and with your point also with the women. Yeah, he really focused on them and he really focused on me, and it was just it's really hard to describe when something like this happens to you, and you see something like that, and it kind of brings you back down to earth and lets you know that okay, we got to do some battle here, and we got to try and help this little girl spirit and the other spirits, and try to let them know that he's not the biggest guy in the house, And I
Right.
think that's why a lot of times when we go on, I'm a pretty big guy, man. I'm 6 feet 7 inches tall, about 250,
Holy moly!
and
Holy shit.
yeah, and
He is young
and
compared
when
to me now.
and when we go into these investigations, I think sometimes my size has a lot to do, because I don't think Ed really felt like he was the biggest thing in that house anymore, and I think that's why he looked at me and was trying to get me scared and so emotional. So
That could
it's
very well be.
Got intimidated by
yeah,
the
yeah,
size. I
yeah,
mean, well,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
look back. I got a question. When you went to this house, did you guys do any like research on the place beforehand? I mean, how did you
I
find out
really-
about it besides just somebody telling you about it?
My ex-wife's sister told us about
Right.
it, and
So you didn't go and do any research and find anything in like local papers or anything, or
no, sir, I don't even know what the address of the place is. Honestly, I know what road it's on, but that's all. I don't know the home address.
Yeah, and I've put out some feelers to some people in Sampson County, but we've never received anything back. So it's tough to do, especially with COVID being around. It's hard to get into like public records places and stuff like that.
right. But with the power of the internet nowadays, some of that stuff that has gotten all digitalized. So I mean, there is stuff that you would have to physically go and look the old-fashioned way because
True.
you're not gonna.
True.
They don't have it all. Digitalized on the internet. They only go back so many years, and the rest of it, you're going to have to go to the State Historical Society or Public Records and look for yourself.
Yeah.
Digging on things called microfiche and so on and so forth.
Oh wow, I've not heard that word in a
Microfiche,
while.
what's that?
Hey,
What is that?
microfiche.
Oh my God.
What kind of bait
So
would
my
you
age
use?
there.
Damn, Joe, are you trying to,
You just lost.
date us
You
here
just-
or what?
Yeah,
Well,
we just
we
lost
already
half
know
the
you're
audience
ancient,
with-
Mark.
That's great.
Uh,
Oh man, I don't know
That's
about
funny.
you.
Yeah,
the COVID thing did put a lot of stress on a lot of us for this.
Yeah, it did.
To do
Yeah.
our investigations
yes,
the proper
Yeah.
way.
but we do like to do research on the places that we go to. So it's one that since it's an older house, it's really kind of avoiding a lot of the research that we're trying to get on it. And you know what? Maybe there's just no records of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
So it can.
that's kind of like what we ran into with our friend's house that we went and did earlier in the year. We did a investigation on it. It's a year ago this month that they actually bought the house, and
Okay.
they live up in Grafton from where we're at. And we tried to find out history. Joe tried his damnedest to find out history.
Yeah,
on it, and
I've got
it was
an
almost
investigative
impossible.
background, so for me, it's a little
Yeah.
easier to find things, and sift through that stuff. But yeah, it was easier to find stuff on the land in the town than it was anything about the house itself.
yeah.
Sure. That's what I kind of run into also, Joe, is you can find out, especially around here with Raleigh or in Gold Sparrow, with people being here for a long time, you can find records of the land where the Native Americans on it. Was there Revolutionary battle here, Civil War battle here? Records of the towns are pretty well kept, but
Yeah.
it's just
Speaking
eluded
about-
us. So
Speaking of the history of the land, interesting fact is the place where I live at now has 5 spirits of former slaves that live here.
Oh,
Yeah, they've been
So
here.
as part of a plantation at some point.
Well, actually, this was the land that they were given once they became free.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the place where they were at on their plantation is probably about 5 miles from here. And the weird thing about the plantation is it used to be in my family.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
years ago it was in my family, and it was sold off to I don't know who it is now. So, but it wasn't in my family back during the plantation time. At the time it was in my family, they used to have a wood mill behind the place, and it's been gone. But yeah, it's interesting that they were there on that piece of property that used to be in my family, and now they are on this property that my family lives on. So that was kind of weird.
I can
Well,
see.
it's kind of cool actually.
Well, I can
Yeah.
also see that that area, of the states that you all live in. It can be such hot spots for all kinds
Oh,
of
yeah.
things. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is.
it's also
Think
got
about it.
you got one of the longest family feuds in history in that area. Not
Yep.
too far away from
Yeah.
there, and then you've got the Native American history, and the Civil War history, because a lot of that was fought down there in the South. And,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yep.
Well, not
Yeah.
just that too. You got to realize that the entire
It's just-
eastern seaboard there, that's where our original 13 colonies came from.
right, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
there
mean,
you
a lot of
have
it's
all
going
that
to
history.
right. A lot of it's going to be rich in the paranormal history because there was a lot of dark times there.
Yeah.
Now, correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, but is not Roanoke just off of the coast of,
Yeah.
of one of the
Yeah.
Carolinas there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's off in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's out on the it's in the OBX or the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
And when you go there, you can actually they did find colony there, so you can see the earthworks and things like that. So people have been in the Carolina area since the mid 1500s.
Yep.
Yeah. So and
So,
Native
yeah,
Americans even
there's
longer.
A lot, There's a lot of rich history in that area.
I know.
Yes, sir.
So,
and
yeah, that
also on that
gives
same.
That'd be
that
one
gives
of
a
the
good
places.
idea of
I
why
mean,
there would
I'd
be
want to travel that
activity
way
out there.
first to do investigations outside of Wisconsin. I'd want to
Hey,
go
come
that
on,
way
guys.
than the West
Come on
Coast.
down.
You know,
Come on down.
Oh yeah, because that's where our
I'd rather
our
go
nation
east than
started,
west.
is
Yeah.
down in the East Coast, the Eastern Seaboard.
We'll welcome you.
Yeah.
I'd
we go
love
hunting
to go out
together.
there. I have been, believe it or not, I have actually been to downtown Manhattan, New York City.
Oh my gosh.
In a straight truck, making a delivery.
And you survived.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it is.
I had to make a delivery to a place on 5th and 51st.
Wow.
And they were
Okay.
building. Neal, what'd you do? You flipped your picture.
Yeah, I understand that one
You
too,
do.
Tom. But
I don't know what he did. He froze
I
and
don't
he
know,
flipped
something
his
happened.
picture.
I think he froze.
there we go.
Oh, there he is. Is he
Oh,
coming
now
back?
he's over on this side.
What's going on here? We switched sides.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
think
know.
you froze,
All of a
but-
sudden, he's muted now.
Unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Oh, that's streaming.
Type it to him, Joe. Oh, now he went and he's gone. Well, I think he'll come back here sometime.
Yeah, he'll come back.
The other
He'll come
the
back.
other one just left, so he might come back because both of them were still there. So that might have had something to do with it.
Okay.
The other one, what? There
His
he
other
is.
feed- the other feed was still sitting down here where he was sideways.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
you
we
like,
can hear
you
you
like
now.
laid down for a nap and then all of a sudden disappeared.
Yeah, yeah. Weird. Talk about paranormal stuff and weird stuff going on audio wise. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know, man.
I actually I had to take a straight truck downtown Manhattan, delivered to a Louis Vuitton.
Delivered to Louis Vuitton.
That
there
was
you go.
that was one of the craziest freaking nights of my life, man. They wanted
Wow.
it there. They wanted it there in the evening. You want to talk about
Wow.
a city that never fucking sleeps?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
You think Las Vegas is bad? Hell no. That's a
And New
drop
York
in the
gotta be-
bucket compared to there. Whew, that was scary too.
Dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Manhattan's fun.
So, what's one of the most famous places you've been to investigate?
Oh wow. For
That would have
myself,
to be Lincoln
I-
Academy.
yeah, Lincoln Academy, and for myself, way back in the day when I was in Oregon, I investigated the Shanghai tunnels. So
Wow, that must have been.
yeah, they were
interesting.
great. Yeah, it's interesting because I was banging my head every 2 minutes because the pipes are hanging down. So I think I probably concussed myself, and that's all the evidence I have in my head. I think I was just seeing stars and birds all the time.
I bet he'd have a hell of a time if we went down to Louisiana to the Lafayette cemeteries and went into the crypts down
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
Who
Yeah,
had a
so
solid
far-
backache?
Yeah, yeah. So far, like Neal was saying, was the Lincoln Academy, which is what's the town that's Neal?
The town is Gastonia.
Yeah, Gastonia. So Lincoln Academy is where a unfortunately famous murder happened in Gastonia. It was a 16-year-old girl. She was kidnapped from Atlanta, Georgia, and brought up here and brutally murdered. Where something really good happened in North Carolina, the Lincoln Academy School, which was a school for young black children. And Neal, why don't you take the story from here, because you kind of connected with it a little bit more than I did.
Okay. Like David was saying, this was at the academy where a lady started the academy for underprivileged, black children, which was a good thing. But what actually happened in this murder was, like David was saying, these two guys kidnapped this young lady. Her name was Catherine, and they kidnapped her from Georgia, brought her to Gastonia, which is right next to Charlotte, and there they brutally raped her with a broken beer bottle. Um, they did a lot of other things that I don't want to go to live because it's really gross. And
It's bad.
they filleted her arms. I can tell you that much. They took barbed wire and tied her to a tree with barbed wire, stabbed her, and left her there to die. So I think she said she died like 6 hours later.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
tree,
That's a lot of suffering right there.
it is, man. And that tree where she was at has been cut down several times, and it always grows right back. And they say if you get close to the tree, you can smell rotten flesh.
Her sounds to me like possibly her energies embedded themselves in the tree.
Oh yeah, man, for real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a real heavy place. There also is a cemetery that is accompanied back in the forest that is attributed to the school. Also, there is an old shack. There is an old shack that is still standing. It's the only original piece of property from the school that is still there. Unfortunately, it's grown over, but we did a really, really good investigation at the cemetery and caught some really good things. Caught our teammate Christy. She does the Estes theory, and when she was finished with it, it was weird because she says something and she looks over and said jump, and then she looks back this way, and then right out of her head, there comes an orb right at her camera. So it was a good catch. It was a good catch, paranormal wise.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it was.
yeah, it was a good spot. Yeah, it's a good spot, and it's just really heavy when you get to the place where something that horrible takes place, and it's weird because it's coming back. I think it's full circle of what you're saying, Mark. Because when I kind of saw that tree, I really felt like I didn't want to go near it. Because I felt like I was going to feel something. So I think you might be onto something here. I think I'm gonna have to do some research.
Yeah.
On
Definitely,
some stuff,
definitely. I mean,
So-
if you're having those kind of feelings and be able to sense stuff like that, you should really research it and
Sure.
get into it a little bit more. I mean,
Sure.
myself personally, I'm planning on getting back into the Wiccan part of it and start doing
Okay.
my studies again and
Okay.
everything. Because I mean, Wicca, people irritate me whenever I say anything about Wicca because they're like, "Oh, that's devil worship." It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's
Devil
not.
devil worship is totally different.
Yes.
being a Wiccan, basically you're in tune with nature itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
it all is it has everything to do with nature and the planet and the fact that everything has a spirit and everything has, pretty much everything is alive. This entire planet we live
Sure.
on is alive. That's what Wiccans
Oh, yeah.
believe.
Sure,
And that's
sure.
where Gaia, the name Gaia comes from. That's the name of the earth spirit. So
Hmm.
so
Yeah. It's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you started, go right ahead.
It's kind of like when people hear what Neal and I do with a lot of things, they just go, oh, that's fake or something, or that's preposterous or something like that. So
Or
it's
you're
very
battling in the
similar.
dark hall.
Yeah, don't mess with don't. I mean, there are things that can happen, but it's just when people don't understand things, they tend to demonize it or make fun of it or something like that.
Yes,
So
yes, they kind of do.
a lot of making fun of it around here sometimes.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
people, they go. It's not so like. It's either they think it's really cool, want to know more,
Uh-huh.
or they think you're just that's a joke.
Think you're full of
It's
shit.
full of crap. Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty much.
Well,
So,
I'd
just kind of curious now. I didn't ask you this earlier, I forgot to, but what kind of equipment do you guys actually use? I heard you talking about a board that you use with a pendulum.
Yes, it's called a
Yeah.
dowsing board. And if you look at it, it's kind of similar to what a Ouija board is. But
Okay.
where on a Ouija board, you got to touch the planchette, which is touching the board.
Mhm.
With this, you're not actually touching the board. You have a pendulum that swings over it.
Mhm.
And the way the dowsing board works is we have a up and down, a cross like on it, which up and down is yes, side, back, left and right is no. And we have the alphabets in a semicircle. And the way the pendulum works is when the spirits want to spell out something, you move the pendulum along and they'll make it spin in a circle clockwise around whatever letter they want to use. And that's one of the tools that we use. We're big time into using dowsing rods. That was, as a matter of fact, that was our very first tool that we ever had was dowsing
We've
rods.
heard that a
Yeah.
few times now.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and man, I love my if I had to get rid of everything else, I would still keep my dowsing rod. That's how much I believe in them.
Well, you know what dowsing rods originally were used for, right?
Yeah, that's how I was
finding
taught.
water. Yeah.
That's how I was taught.
Yep.
My brother actually taught me how to do it using just the stick, the Y stick to find water.
Uh huh.
And then he went from there to teaching me different things. And over the years, man, I never thought I'd be using dowsing rods to speak with spirits. But dude,
Yeah.
Do you know what the original dowsing rods were made from?
no.
Copper.
Nope. The original dowsing rods, when the settlers first came, and they were using it, their tree of choice was the willow tree.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Because the willows are actually associated more with water.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I know I've heard that it had to be a fruit tree, but I've used branches off of trees that aren't fruit and still get the same reaction.
But
Yeah.
willow branches are some of the best ones to actually use because they are associated with water. And
Okay.
so, yeah.
I still didn't know that.
That's the original ones. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
besides those,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, David.
no, I said besides those. Next.
Oh, yeah. We use the PSB 11 Spirit Box. We use that. We also have K2 meter. We have an IR camera that we use. We also use a couple of applications from our phones. One is the Necrophonic, and one is a portal. Christy, she has a plethora of equipment, digital recorder. We also have digital recorder. She has that REM pod. And then Jen she got these new little things called ghost boxes. They have little antenna, and if some kind of energy comes around it, then they light up this real kind of blue stuff. So we kind of run the gamut on the normal equipment that anybody can use. But the biggest tool I always say, and Neal always say, other than the dowsing rods, is your feelings also, and how you're feeling in the house. And I think that's the biggest tool.
Yep.
You got to trust your feelings, man. Trust your gut.
Yeah.
That is the one thing. You see, my parents are from the South. My parents, Oklahoma and Arkansas area.
Okay.
So that was one of the things I learned when I was growing up. I learned all that stuff from what how the Southerns teach their kids.
Yeah.
Is you gotta go with the flow and know your gut and know exactly if something doesn't feel right, then it's not right.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing that I'll always live by, man, and this came about as part of me being a preacher at one time, was if there's confusion messed with it, I don't mess with it. You know, I don't like dealing with a lot of confusion. For one, you know, just speaking from a biblical standpoint, that confusion is not of God. So when it comes to messing with things that are really confusing, I try to step back from it because I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to regret it later. And that came by learning from experience.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't let yourself be confused. You got to be focused whenever you're doing
No.
stuff like this, because once you start
Yeah,
becoming
absolutely.
confused, then they can start using that the spirits, depending on if they're benign or malevolent.
Yeah.
No, can't even say
Yeah,
it
for
right.
sure.
But it depends on how the spirits are, that they can start using that against you.
Yeah, they will.
Hmm.
And
So,
they take advantage of every moment they get too, man.
oh yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
That they do. That they do.
So besides that one demon, have you guys ever had any kind of encounters with other demons, or like
Yeah.
physical manifestation in front of you of
Um,
any of them?
I went to Bentonville Battleground with the team that I was on before David and I met. And that's a Civil War battleground here in North Carolina.
Hmm.
And I was with about 6 other people that was on our team at the time. And myself and another guy saw an apparition of a man in all gray standing next to a tree, between a tree and a stump. He was just standing there looking at us. And at the time, we didn't have very good equipment at the time. We were just starting out, you know. And
Right.
so the only thing I had was this little shitty camera that I had. I was on a shitty phone that I had at the time. And and I tried to capture the image, dude, but all I got was little silhouettes of the tree. So, yeah, it was definitely there, though. I seen it there, and my son and I at the Carver Cemetery, which David mentioned earlier, we also saw a figure. But this one was like a smoky gray mist, but it was in like a human shape. And we saw that for probably about a good 10 seconds, and it just disappeared.
Well, David, what about you?
Uh, Carver Cemetery. There's a lot of things that go on there. Obviously, the murder suicide house of seeing that, but there's also another spirit that we get in trouble with in not trouble with, but interact with at Carver Cemetery. We call it the Joker, and the Joker has manifested itself in many different ways. Scratches on Neal's neck. With the dowsing rods, it'll give us 13 different answers. And then a lot of times, just the thing out of the side of your eye, and if you ever went to the cemetery, you would understand what we're saying. I mean, it's pitch black at the cemetery. It's really scary. It's very, very creepy. And when I'm there, I'm always seeing a lot of different things. And we've caught some EVPs of Neal hearing growls there. Like I said on our last video that had their blood curling scream, that really freaked us out. Neal whispers and things like that. So, two experiences I've had with something that one I feel is evil, like we were talking about. The second one, I don't know what he is because I don't believe anything that it says to us or anything like that, because it'll say it's good 1 minute, then it'll say it's bad, and then it'll say he's not here, then he's here, or we're not doing anything. So we haven't gotten a straight answer from that at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a trickster spirit for sure.
yeah. A lot of them can be tricksters like that. They can be deceiving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's kind of what's. Yeah.
At that same place, when I was there with the team before David, we were there, and matter of fact, I think it was the first time we'd ever been to that cemetery, the previous team that I was with, and I was standing there, man, looking out at the grave, and through this whole investigation, we've been hearing through the spirit boxes, leave, get out, and we kept saying, no, we're not, and I had to be the dummy and say, I'm not leaving until you scared me. And that spirit, the Joker that we refer to, I could actually feel him, and it's so hard to fathom unless you were there. and I actually felt him from my back walking through me, turning around and pushing me down on the ground. I went rolling across the ground, and I popped up. I was like, "What the hell just happened?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that place, man, it has some negative stuff to it.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a
being
good
where
one.
you're from, being where you're from, dude, is that all you do? Is just investigating hauntings, or have you ever looked for Bigfoot or some of the other cryptids? Because I know
I've
that
not.
area. I know that area is heavy with forests, woods, and a lot of hot spots for Bigfoot sightings. You know, and then when you go further south, there's other weird cryptids
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I've
there
heard
is.
about. Have you ever gone looking for that kind of stuff or checked into it?
We
Or,
we've contacted a couple people in Georgia that we're supposed to investigate with, but they are also Bigfoot hunters, and they're going to take us down into Tennessee, and we're actually going to do a Bigfoot search. They've said they've experienced some stuff like rocks, baseball sized rocks, being thrown at them, or just different things that happen during these investigations. So we'll be
Yeah.
in the middle of Tennessee woods somewhere. Just hope I don't hear banjos.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I know, right?
that'll scare me. That'll scare me more than anything else. I'm out of there.
The only
Start
thing,
hearing
hope,
those
hope
dueling
you don't, hope you
banjos.
don't get some entity coming up behind you going, "You got a pretty mouth."
That's funny right there, Mark. That's funny.
Out of there.
Damn.
So yeah,
Probably take
we're
off running.
planning. Yeah, we're planning on going down to Georgia sometime next year to do that investigation also, and so yeah, and I lived in Pacific Northwest for 7 years, so there's sightings around there all the time. So I never saw
Oh,
them.
Yeah.
I
Tom,
never
baby.
saw them, and I can't say.
Now you guys, so they're gonna be taking you guys down by around the Appalachians then, right?
Yeah, I
Probably
think so.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where a lot of the sightings are out there.
Yeah. This is gonna be
I
good.
couldn't
Man.
help myself, by the way, Dave. I'm
That's
one
okay.
of those equal. I'm one of those equal opportunist pickers.
Yeah.
I pick on everybody equally.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
Hey, while I'm thinking about it too, man, while we were up in Virginia one time, we went to this place called Route 666, and it's
Yeah,
a
Route
long stretch of
666.
road where there's 7 bridges on it, and they say that each one of these bridges is a gateway to hell.
Wow.
And we made it to the third one,
Yeah,
and
we made
we
it
got
to
to
the
the
third
third
one. That was
bridge.
it.
We came back, and on the way, as we were crossing back across the third bridge, I don't know why this happened, but it did. A spirit spoke through me, and I still recall it. It's just like it happened just a minute ago, man. I remember what he said. I think his name was Brian. I'm not sure. Was that right, David? Brian?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I remember him saying over and over again, it was my fault. It was my fault. It was my fault. Tell Sarah I love her. It was my fault. And David or somebody was asking questions, and he was telling them that he and his wife had gotten into an argument, and he got drunk, took off on his car, head down that road, and he didn't realize his son was in the back seat, and he wrecked and killed both of them.
Yeah.
So, he wanted to keep saying to Sarah, tell her I love her and tell her I'm sorry. It was my fault. It was my fault. Yeah, Dale, I hear you, man. I understand there's places like that everywhere.
Yeah. This one,
We're gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we'll
was
have
it
to.
was it was a pretty good investigation. We got the videos up of that, and the weird thing is afterwards is Neal was just he kept going in and out. So the worst thing is I had to double time it for about a mile to get the truck to get him off this road, and it was really weird because after I got him in the truck and he didn't want to get in the truck and I'm pushing him in, making sure that he's secure. As soon as we got over the first bridge, Neal was back to his normal self, and just asking what happened and things like that. So that was a pretty good investigation there too. Yeah, it was a really good investigation. We got growls, we've got orbs, we got everything. That road is no joke, man. It's no joke. It lives up to its numbers.
Maybe Neal should look into that too, because if the spirit was able to take him over like that, he may be as sensitive as well.
I always felt that I might be a little bit, I've never really acted on it, but like David, but I've always had an inkling that, that it might be possible, especially given with my past,
Legend has it if you reach the 7th by midnight, you'll be transported to hell.
Well, I'm definitely not going. I don't want to.
I'm not going there, Joe. No.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't have to worry. They'd kick me out. I'd try to sell ice cream.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
I don't know if I'd want to tempt fate on that one. I mean, I'd go as far as 6, but then I think I'd stop. Put around.
I keep going. After the crap that I seen.
It's like some of those lures. Say here, we'll say this like the Candyman movie. We'll say Candyman 5 times. You hear some of those things. You just don't want to. I mean, if I ever went to wherever that doll is, Annabelle, I don't think I'd even want to touch the glass that it's behind.
No, sir, me either.
I'm not afraid of that stuff. It doesn't scare me. After all the crap that I've seen,
but you never know what might follow you home from there just by doing that.
It doesn't scare me though. That's the thing. It doesn't scare me. I used to, when I was younger, I dated a woman, a Hispanic woman, who was a witch, and she played with the dark magics. I have actually seen face-to-face demons.
Wow.
Yeah, every time you look in the mirror.
So that kind of crap doesn't scare me. It just doesn't. I don't have that flight response. I have the stand and fight, stand my ground. So
see, that's what I am too. I'm that way too. Sometimes it gets me in trouble.
I have yet to get in trouble for it when it comes to the paranormal. But no, honestly, I'm the kind of person that if I'm with a group and say we're walking along like we're in a cemetery doing an investigation or something, and you can hear someone distinctively scream, I won't run away from that. I will run to that.
Yeah. It's kind of what we did.
Because I look at it this way: what if there's actually somebody there in trouble that is screaming? Why run away from it? Run to it.
Right. Yep. That's what we say all the time, man. Most people run away, we run too.
Besides, if it turns out to be a spirit of some sort, are they really going to be able to hurt you?
Never know.
I've been I don't know.
Anything's possible.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't have the flight response. I can't run away from things. I have to face it head on.
We didn't run when we were hearing that growling noise in the one cemetery that one night either.
No, we didn't.
No.
And we were trying to figure out where it was coming from and what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you guys have on your page is kind of our motto too. Is we just want to find proof of the truth. That's kind of our motto. So, I mean, the scream, is it scary? Absolutely. Are the growls scary? Absolutely. But I want to find out what's growling at me.
Well, see, you're in Wisconsin or wherever you might be. Those growls could be a wolf or a coyote or something, and then you're going to have to defend yourself.
Yeah.
True. Very true. Yeah, very true.
We even have, believe it or not, we even have bobcats and we have
cougars, mountain lions
here in the state too.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Black panthers.
Any of that kind of stuff that you hear a growl like that, it could be something like that.
There's a place.
Still, you want to find out.
There's a place called what was that called?
Wildcat Mountain.
Wildcat Mountain State Park.
Okay.
Okay, and it's been known to a lot of people because people have the locals that live right close by there see black cats, panther-like cats.
Okay.
But we
Wow.
all know there is no such thing as a black panther. What it is it's that opposite of albinoism, and it usually happens in jaguars and leopards.
Oh,
Okay. And then you'll see the spots under the coats. If you see them real close, you look at one in the zoo, you'll see spots under the black coat,
Okay.
usually because they're black leopards most of the time.
Right.
But what they're seeing around here, we don't have leopards or anything like that.
No.
The closest
no,
thing we got
native
to it,
Africa.
they're
Yeah.
seeing, and the DNR and people like this are denying these reports.
Well, they don't
Wow.
believe them because
They don't believe them because they don't exist in Wisconsin. But
Oh,
who's
yeah.
this- but now that disease can hit everything, just like albinoism can hit humans,
Yeah.
So what's to
Sure.
say that it's not a mountain lion or a cougar?
Well,
Because that's
it-
what it
it
kind of
could
looks
be.
like to these people, and most of these people are like avid hunters,
Yeah.
so they know the natural wildlife.
Yeah, they
that's
know the
around here.
difference. Yeah, they know
Right.
the difference. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So they're all
that's just
trustworthy.
yeah, but it goes back into when they don't want people to panic, I guess. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
That could
I have
be
no
too.
idea. So
As long as they can keep
I mean,
control of
what it
everything. Okay.
Well, these cats are getting pretty close. I mean, one of the reports was that it was like woman went out in their backyard, and there it was in her backyard. I mean, they're getting pretty close to the residential areas. But then
Well,
so are
yeah,
the wolves and
I
coyotes and stuff because we're moving into what used to be their homes
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, man.
yeah, that's what happened. I spent a lot of time in Arizona, and Arizona. When I moved to Arizona, it was nice, little, small, and Arizona, Phoenix, and Scottsdale. Now it's nice, really big, and so with bobcats in Arizona and the coyotes and things like that, people are experiencing them every day, and it's exactly what you said. They've lived there for hundreds of years, and we're just moving in, and now we want them to move out.
now we're
so
infringing on their territory.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
So you
they're going
used
to come by and
live
say
down-
hi.
You used to live down by Phoenix, suburb of Phoenix area
Scottsdale.
there.
Yeah, Scottsdale.
So how close
Yeah.
to the Superstitious Mountains were you?
I could see them right out my window.
I kind of like my sister. My sister lives in one of the suburbs. She may even be in Scottsdale. I'm not sure, but
Okay,
she lives
okay.
in one of the areas down there. She said that you can step out her back door and see the Superstitious Mountains right there.
Yeah, so my wife and I, we had a loft in downtown Phoenix, and we were on the 18th floor, and we had
Holy
floor to
crap.
ceiling windows, and right out the window was the Superstition Mountains. And I've actually
Wow.
told Neal about the Superstition Mountains, about the Lost Dutchman mine there, and about how people go to do it, but it's old Indian burial ground, and this is like really experienced like hikers and things like that, and they go into the mountains, they get lost. When they come back out, they say the whole landscape has been changed and stuff like that. So I don't mess with that mountain, man. I don't mess with anything
Well,
that's anything like that.
there's kind of a legend that's around that mountain as well. They claim that there is a gate that
Oh,
is
okay.
in there somewhere that takes
Okay.
you to the other side.
No way.
Wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Supposedly, if you get up in there and you get off the trail or whatever, you can find this gate, and it supposedly will take you. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Ancient Aliens on A&E.
Sure.
Sometimes they talk about the gates of the gods.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of what this is supposed to be. It's like a gate,
Oh, okay.
of the gods, where it's just
Wow.
you can walk through, and you're on a different planet or a different realm or a different.
Wow.
That
That's
is
awesome.
the claims, and there was also claims.
Yeah.
Neal froze again, and there's also claims of like you said, the Dutchman's mine up there in gold.
Yeah, Lost Hutchins. Yeah,
Like,
Lost
lots of
Hutchins
gold.
gold mine. Yeah, yeah.
Josh Gates went looking
there's
for that once.
Yeah, but he never
and
found
they
it.
didn't find it.
Nope.
They
Nope.
nobody
Nope.
found it. You know, they have the maps. A lot of people say that it's already been mined because the superstition had been mined a lot, and somebody said it's already been found. You know, there's the trail that goes there. There's so many theories of where it's at. I just think with all the equipment that they have for mining nowadays, they would have found it by now. So,
Well, you also got to think too. We got all these satellites that go that
Yep.
run overhead that can do the topographic
But-
scanning
yeah.
and it can literally scan for
Yeah,
minerals
but
types.
no, wait a minute.
So
What's to say that
Why not?
Superstitious Mountains doesn't have something to screw with the equipment?
it's true.
that's a
Yeah.
possibility too.
And-
You know,
And then it always comes back to this: don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Right.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean,
You
there's
always
so many
got to have a
theories.
good legend and a good story. Come on.
Well, there's so many theories around the
Absolutely.
place.
Yeah.
You know, when you
There's-
do all
yeah,
these when you do all the research, you find a lot of different theories, a lot of different stories, and you could open up a lot of different, you know, doorways to
Yeah.
where to
absolutely.
go with the story. You know, I've done a lot of
Absolutely.
research. We've only started doing this last year, and COVID put a kind of a crunch on our plans for this year because we had some major plans to go to some really cool places
Oh, we
this
had
year.
some really cool places to go this year. So
Yeah,
And-
we've got what have we got coming up? You know, we've got tomorrow. We're doing an all-night investigation at Harmony Hall. That'll be tomorrow night, and that's from 8 until 7 in the morning. Harmony Hall is a huge historic place that's been around since the Revolution. Then the following weekend, we will be on the USS North Carolina with
That's
the
gonna be
Tennessee
awesome.
Race Chasers. Yeah, so we're gonna be investigating with them. It's one of those ghost hunt weekends, and one of our team members, Christy, she's really good friends with the Tennessee Race Chasers, so she invited us down for that. So that's going to be a really cool thing to be on. It's consistently listed as one of the top haunted places in North Carolina. You know, they said there's up to
Cool.
10 spirits there, so that's going to be good. And then, you know, after that, I think you know, who knows what's going to happen. We're going to probably take a little bit of a break after that, and possibly start season 2 on our YouTube channel. You know, and get some more things, in order. You know, and I know it's a little dangerous being out there with COVID, but hopefully the ghosts don't have it. So, knock on wood, we're doing all right so far.
pretty sure the ghost won't. But with him, we
I gotta
gotta
be
be
extra
careful
careful.
because
All right,
you know, him being a leukemia survivor. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
we're at
Yeah.
the top of the hour. If you guys want to stick around, I got a couple announcements.
hang on, we're not
and we can
quite
talk.
done yet.
right.
So for everybody that
Oh.
is viewing and will view this later, where can they find you?
Oh yeah,
You can find us on YouTube at Our Haunted Live.
Just type it in on the search bar and it'll bring it up.
yeah. Be
Yes, sir.
sure to like them and subscribe.
Yes.
Every
definitely.
subscriber
that'd be great.
helps.
So
Right.
you
Yeah,
guys don't
and-
have a Facebook page?
Oh yeah, we do. You've seen that on my personal Facebook page. Off of that, we have a page included in that called Our Haunted Live, and we also got one called Ghost of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, another thing, we want to let everybody know who out there who's watching, if they are into paranormal investigating, make sure to help your other teams that are around your area. Neal and I really support Para Unity. We started Ghost of North Carolina, that Facebook page, out of necessity of you know, people just in the clicks and everything like that. So if somebody investigates, you know, go investigate with them if you get an invite, because you can learn so much with investigating with multiple people. You know,
Oh yeah.
We
So-
found that
so
some of the paranormal teams we've met are really nice. You know.
Yeah.
yeah.
We
We're
haven't
all,
ran
we're all
across
doing the
any
same thing.
assholes yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I always like to get that out there to just let people know because it's basically the basis of how Neal and I met. Of like,
Yeah.
I was talking to this one team, and it was like I had to go through the SATs to get back into college, and I was like, not all I want to do is go look for ghosts, man. I don't want to take a math test, and so I was like, yeah, it was crazy. So
Legal blood type, social security number, all that.
yeah, so fortunately, Neal and I met each other, and we've gotten this off. So work with everybody, everyone. It just makes you better.
Yeah. All right, Joe.
All right, next Wednesday we're going to have Brian from the U.S. Paranormal Research Team. And we met them last year when we were out investigating the witches of Whitewater.
Yeah. Nice.
And tomorrow we are going to be with Christopher Kai House, Off the Rails, and we will be investigating the Grafton Arts Mill, right? Is that what it is? Okay.
It's the Grafton Mill and Arts Museum, I think is what it is.
Oh,
From Grafton, Wisconsin. So, and we're
so
going to
we'll
try. We are definitely going to try to go live.
Yes, and tomorrow the art mill. Yes, Tom. I just
Thank
was
you,
saying
Tom.
that. Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
We will see you tomorrow, you and Molly and Chris.
And hopefully we'll be able to go live on that because that's what we're going to try to do. It's one of the reasons I went on Wednesday and picked up my new toy.
So we'll see you next Wednesday. We'll see everybody next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for